very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here at the Hydrogen and Fuel Cells Europe, here at Hannover Fairground in 2022. Yes, this is already the last day of the fair. It's Thursday, we are ending today, so I think this is a really important day for all our exhibitors and also for our guests. And we shouldn't forget that some people coming just today for the fair, also learning about hydrogen and fuel cells, and we are happy to welcome you here at the public forum. Every 20 minutes, you will have a new discussion on hot topics regarding the hydrogen and fuel cell business. We'll be discussing electrolyzers and so on. Today, I'm really happy to announce my first guest of the day from Hoeller. Hoeller is a company that focuses on electrolyzers. What exactly they do, we will hear from Mr. Matthias Kramer. Thank you for having you here. Matthias, it's an honor to have you here on stage. How is your day so far?
Well, it just started. We are excited to see what happens today. Yesterday and the day before were very strong days here at the fair. We had lots of people at our booth, and so we're excited to see how it ends today. Because, as you already said, it's the last day of the fair.
You are here as CFO and COO of Hoeller. Who is Hoeller?
Hoeller is a startup company that focuses on stacks for PEM electrolyzers. It was founded 5 years ago, and our founder, Stefan Hoeller, whose name we are carrying in the company name, is a pioneer of the hydrogen industry.
Yes, indeed he is.
I think the people who attend the fair regularly know him for quite some time. He started out, he founded a company called H-Tech, which still is here today. And then about 5 years ago, he founded Hoeller Electrolyzer in order to pursue his technology roadmap to develop and manufacture an improved stack for PEM electrolyzers.
And you mentioned that your company is a startup company. So when I think of startup, I think of like really cool offices, playing foosball all day, and after work starts at 1 p.m. So what is the startup character of your company?
Yeah, I think we're a bit different. We're not a startup that was founded by people that just graduated from university. So I think we have a bit more experience that we bring to the table. But I think what is very much in line with everybody's perception of a startup is that it's a small team. We're just 10 people. Everybody knows everyone. We work closely together. So I think that's where the spirit is, right? Due to the size of the company, things are rather informal. And I think one of our strengths is that we take decisions fast, also with regards to the technical development. Whenever there's a topic that needs to be decided, essentially the whole team is gathering together and then we take a joint decision. And I think that's what our guys like about working for us.
Yeah, and that is really a benefit. And the way you describe your company, I found it very interesting. I think it's also kind of also your business model is a little bit different from other business models. And I would like you to maybe elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah, thanks. I'm happy to do that. That's also why we chose the title of strategic partnerships, because contrary to what many of our competitors are doing, we're not integrating into a larger company, an electrolyzer manufacturer or a hydrogen.
Which is, for those in the audience who don't know, we have reached a kind of a maturity level nowadays. So we have many electrolyzer companies also exhibiting here at this fair. And also we see a trend of larger companies, large in terms of more money, kind of buying into the business, if I can say it like that. So just for those who don't know, and you decided to go a different way.
Yes. Since we are developing hardware, the investment is much larger than compared to a startup in the IT business. And I think that's why many of our competitors, so independent stack manufacturers, are now part of larger conglomerates. However, we believe that we have a leading edge in the technology. We want to further develop the stack. We want to focus on it. And really the second point for us is that we believe in scale up. And we want to produce in large quantities. And that's much easier done if you're independent and you can deliver to a number of electrolyzer manufacturers and you're not just tied to the sales of one company.
Usually you would only produce in large scales once you have the order. So how are you going to realize to produce on a large scale?
Yeah, I think, yes, we need the orders. We need the strategic partnerships. I think what we also witness here is that there are a lot of companies entering into the electrolyzer market. And the stack is really the scarce resource in the business. So there are only a very few independent stack producers, and that's where our position is. We want to deliver to the market. We want to be a reliable component for any electrolyzer manufacturer that is entering the market or already in the market.
And that is really interesting because your company is based in Germany, in Europe, and we just, in terms of recent political development, we also face a shortage on delivery. I think everyone in the industry knows that it takes forever to get the components. So I understand with your approach that it will be much more easier because you are producing in-house on scale and you are able to provide your customers immediately with the stacks.
Yeah, we want to move away from the current logic, which is built to order, so the electrolyzer and the stack is manufactured when the order is placed, and we want to be able to supply ready from the warehouse our components.
Where is the production?
Well, we are located in Wismar. That's where the final assembly is. We have suppliers mainly in northern Germany that manufacture the components. But the design, the assembly, the testing, that is all done in Wismar.
I would like to know from you, what is the current market development in terms of the hydrogen business, and how does it fit with your company's vision?
Yeah. Until about half a year ago, we were confident that we could serve to the market with 3 different sizes of the stack: a small version, a medium, and a large one. And over the past 12 to 18 months, I would say, the demand is shifting. It's away from smaller to the larger stacks. And that's why we decided to actually postpone the medium-sized stack. So our first product will be a 100 kilowatt stack. And then immediately we will concentrate our efforts on producing a 1.5 megawatt stack. And that is really where I believe where the majority of the growth is. All the large projects that have been announced in Europe and across the globe, they need megawatt stacks in order to be able to fulfill their intention. However, we also see a market for the 100 kilowatt version because if we start thinking in a more decentralized way of energy storage, production and use, then that also comes into play for decentral hydrogen production, essentially.
Yeah, so you're really focusing on the market. So you're producing stacks, which is like the, let's say, the brain or the heart of the electrolyzer. What about the other components?
Yeah, the other components, there we need to rely, or we rely on strategic partnerships with OEMs. We have pilot customers who will ensure that their system works with our stack. And I think we need this point of reference really to show that the stack is working with a system. But as I said in the beginning, we don't want to tie ourselves just to one partner. I think once we show that everything is working the way we foresee it, then we will open up and we'll be happy to supply other manufacturers, other electrolyzer manufacturers.
I see. By the way, if you have a question right now. I cannot answer your question, but Mr. Kramer is able to answer your question. So if you want, you can just raise your hand, and then I will come down to you to answer your question. Usually in the morning, everyone is a little bit more quiet and shy, and but there is complimentary coffee. So if you need one, the lovely guys are walking around, and also you can get the coffee from them. Okay. So Matthias, it's not your first time here at this fair, and we haven't been here for 2 years. So the last time was 3 years ago. How do you perceive a change in the recent years, the last 3 years? Has there anything changed, or what has changed regarding the hydrogen fuel cell environment?
Yeah, I think if you look at the fair, it has grown compared to 3 years ago. I think
we have grown in 50%.
Yes, so there seems to be significantly more interest in the whole topic, and just from the conversations we have at our booth, things are more specific. When we were here the last time 3 years ago, it was more a general understanding about what do you do, what is a stack, how does the whole thing work, and I think we have a more educated audience.
That's true. Yeah.
This time. So I think, and we talk a bit more specific. And I think, well, at the end of the day, everybody's here to do business, and I would say that this year is more business-oriented than it was 3 years ago.
That is true, and I also like to call it a hydrogen fuel cell business before I call it the environment or a movement. But now it is truly a business fair. So I would like to know from you, also for those in the audience who are kind of new and have a little bit interest and maybe already have a factory and they want to not greenwash it but make it more sustainable. Who's your ideal customer, and why should they approach you?
Well, our customer is the system integrator or the electrolyzer manufacturer. We can supply the stack as the core component. That's where the reaction is happening. That's where the hydrogen is produced. I think what is important to us is that we work with a long-term perspective. One of the key questions that is always asked is about lifetime of the stack, degradation, how long does it last? And I think it is important to have a partner that is also looking at the system not like a spot sale, but rather in a device that he sells to the customer, and then he also is responsible for maintenance, repairs, and so on. So I think in our position, where we are a small company, we have the product. A partnership for us is valuable, where we also know that the service can be done on the stack and the system.
If I would be like, oh, I want to create a design electrolyzer, why wouldn't I do my stack in-house? Why would I ask for stacks from somewhere else?
Yeah, I mean, the underlying principle of the stack is simple, right? Yeah. I mean, you have a cathode and an anode, and you have something in between where the molecule divides.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, it is a lot of details that make the difference between the level of efficiency you get.
Yeah.
And just not to brag about the number of patents we have, but to maybe explain it a little bit, our technology is not the one single breakthrough innovation. We have about 14 patents filed. Those are all elements, details on the stack, on the cell, and taking them all together, that's where the difference comes from. So it's not the one step-changing invention, but it's really working on it in detail. And I think that's basically where the knowledge of our founder plays in, because he's in the stack business for more than 25 years now.
Yeah, which is phenomenal. And you mentioned that your aim is, or your vision is, to produce on a large scale, and this is one of your key benefits, I would say. I would like to know, with the recent developments in the European politics, is it an advantage for your business model or a disadvantage with considering regulatory frameworks?
Yeah, the regulatory framework, fortunately, is now starting to move in the right direction.
Fortunately, you said.
Fortunately,
Okay.
yes. I think, well, if we play back to the last Hanover Fair, there was also a big discussion around government approvals, the famous German BIM-Gesetz, Bundesemissionsgesetz. So there has been a lot of discussion around that, because I think there's a high degree of uncertainty. So if you look at a town like Wismar, which is 40, 50,000 inhabitants, and all of a sudden you come and say, I want to install an electrolyzer that produces hydrogen, you can be sure that the people you talk to in the municipality, they don't understand what you're talking about, because this is totally new. They haven't dealt with this in the past, and I think that created a lot of uncertainty for everyone. That is now getting better. We have some it's not a set or a clearly defined set of rules, but there are pilot installations around the country where people understand that it's not exploding and it's not leaking. So I think that helps. And with I think with everybody's desire to move away from fossil fuels, this has gained momentum, and I'm quite optimistic that we'll maybe next year or the year after we'll have a clear defined path what you need to do if you want to build an electrolyzer, if you want to build a hydrogen fueling station. I think these things need to become much more common in the next years.
Yeah. I highly agree, and I already see the development, especially if I compare this fair to the last fair, which is 3 years ago, but still the last times. I see a huge development, and also, like you mentioned, the audience is different. Everyone is more knowledgeable, and I like that, because we don't have to sit here and explain how electrolyzers works. We can actually talk about the stacks before I had to really explain what is a stack. Yes. So this is nice that we can do it. I want to talk about one more thing within your company, because I think that you mentioned that you won a prize.
Yeah, actually, we were awarded the Ludwig Bölkow Innovation Prize yesterday, and that is a prize that is awarded once a year for innovation in Mecklenburg-Vorpommern.
Right.
And yeah, we're quite happy about that.
Yeah, congratulations to the prize. It was a pleasure to have you here on stage.
Thank you.
And I can only say that unfortunately our time is up, but if you have more questions about Hoeller, and you can directly address it to Mr. Kramer, he will be here all day. Exactly.
All day, yes.
Yeah, so thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.